Hi guys, this is Hamilcar bringing you a commentary of a single game from the Pro League set between WeMadeFox and Samsung Khan. WeMadeFox is sending out TheRock for this set, and Samsung Khan is sending out the Zerg Odin. The game is going to be on the map Neo-Requiem 2, and to be totally honest, I'm commenting this game in large part because I know it's relatively short, and it's a chance for me to just get a game out quickly, and these short games upload faster, process faster, don't need to be split, and so forth, and I'm still getting the hang of the technical side of putting these commentaries together and putting them on YouTube. So I hope that shouldn't spoil anything for anyone. You all know how long the game is from the size of the YouTube file. So at any rate, the game's getting started now. Odin is the blue Zerg at the 3 o'clock or so, and TheRock is the yellow Protoss at 6 o'clock, or orange Protoss, I guess. And neither of these players are particularly fantastic. Odin's stats I have for this year, he's so far 1-3, which means A, that he hasn't played very much, and B, that he hasn't played very well. And the fact that he's playing for Samsung Khan at all is an indication of, I think, the poverty of Zerg play this year. There aren't very many good Zergs at all. There's Jaedong, who's doing alright, not quite at his best, but certainly one of the top players around. And then there's July and Yarnak and Luxury, who are all good, solid players, but compared to, say, Protoss players like Bisu and Stork and Best, who are all playing at a dominant level at this moment, this is not a good period for Zerg in general. And particularly the top teams in the Pro League, or at least the teams with the most total talent, like Samsung Khan and like what's his face team with Bisu and Best and so forth. It'll come to me in a second. Don't have very good Zerg players at all. Samsung Khan has a great talented Protoss player in Stork, a great Terran player in Firebat Hero, and nothing really at all in the way of Zerg players. So at any rate, returning to the game, we'll see how Odin can do. TheRock, I was going to say, is also no one's favorite player, and not far from the best player in Pro League. So I think this should be a relatively even game between two players who are not at the top of the Pro League scene. Anyhow, quick pool going down for Odin. I think it was a 9 pool, and he's just putting his hatch down now. And TheRock went for a gateway into Cybernetics Core, so he's going for a 1-base build, which is sort of unusual. This map is is one of the relatively new maps. I think it's a remake of an old map from a couple years ago, and it's got a main that's on low ground with a ramp leading up to a natural, and that produces some fairly odd play. I think on a normal map with a downwards ramp, or even with a level ground choke leading into the natural, we wouldn't see this sort of play from Protoss players at all. But they feel like the low ground, high ground reversal makes it a little bit harder to go for the Forge Fast Expand. So we've seen more one-base play on this map. The natural is also fairly hard to hold because there's a relatively wide choke, and so I think TheRock feels like this is his best chance in this game. We haven't seen a lot of success from one-base builds for Protoss, though, and I don't think it's necessarily the best choice even on this sort of map, but we'll see how it plays out. Going for a quick robotics facility. It's being scouted out by that Overlord, though, or will be if the Overlord moves a little bit to the north. So if he's going to try for something like a Reaver Rush, I don't think that'll be very effective. Quick layer going down for Odin, and we'll see whether Odin is going to go into Lurkers or into Mutas with that layer. I don't think he's put down a third hatchery, which suggests that he might be going Lurkers, since Mutas typically require 3 hatcheries. So if it is a Lurker Rush, then that quick robotics facility will let TheRock get observers out. So it's a smart move for that reason. But we'll see. Hopefully Odin will scout the robotics facility. We haven't seen an observatory going down, so I'm not sure what the robotics facility is there for. And TheRock's pushing out with a small force, and I think he's fallen back now to his ramp. Spire going down, so it looks like it will be Mutas. We'll see if there's a third hatch or if he's going for low macro and just trying to get the Mutas out as fast as possible. And a robotic support bay is going down. So we're going to see Reavers, and I'm not sure if that Overlord has seen the robotics facility or the support bay yet. So if he hasn't, then Odin could be in a little bit of trouble. At the same time, having that Spire out will allow him to get Scourge to counter the shuttle. And the shuttle's heading out now, but it can't possibly have a Reaver in it. The robotic support bay just came up. So he may be just dropping Zealots for harassment. The Zerglings are heading back now. On the other hand, he may just be trying to scare Odin by flying that shuttle around menacingly, or he may be going for the scout. And if that was his purpose, it was accomplished because he sees that Spire going down. So he knows that he can expect Mutas and Scourge coming out shortly. At the same time, I'm not sure what he can do about it because he's nowhere near Templar tech, and he hasn't put down a Stargate, so he's going to have to get down some cannons. I don't think he has a forge yet, so that'll take a little while. Or just pump a lot of Dragoons, but Dragoons aren't particularly good against Mutas. Fortunately, Odin is still on 2 hatcheries, I think, so he won't be able to produce a lot of Mutas. But the Scourge, I think, are going to shut down any attempt at Reaver harass fairly quickly. At least there's a narrow window, and if this drop succeeds, Reaver goes down, and he takes out one drone with that shot, puts a hit on the sunken colony, but overall not very effective harass. Those Zerglings, a lot of them are going to die. Yeah, several of them die. But oh, the Mutas are out, and this is going to be bad. He drops the Reaver out, but oh, now TheRock is pushing in the front, though. His Reaver is going to go down in just a second, but no, there's 3 sunken colonies there, plus the Mutas, and I think TheRock is in some very serious trouble here. Not inspired play from him, seeing that shuttle and still going in with the unsupported, or seeing Spire and still going in with the unsupported shuttle and Reaver, and now the Dragoons are just being picked off. As I say, Dragoons are not particularly effective units against Mutalisks, and he's just leaving those Zealots out there to be killed as soon as the Mutas are done dealing with the Dragoons. I don't know what he's thinking. So this is why TheRock has a reputation for being a not particularly inspired player. And I think being just on one base against 2 Zerg bases and not having the forces to push out and take a secondary, I would say this is practically GG, and more Mutas coming, and that's going to seal it, I think. Because even if he can get some sort of defense up, they'll be able to do enough. Those Mutas will be able to do enough economic damage, and they're not even going to bother going for the economy. They're just going to power through those Dragoons, and Lings are streaming in 3 gateways, but that's not enough to overcome this number of Mutas and Lings. And you can see from the expression on TheRock's face that he knows that he's pretty much toast at this point. Lings taking out the Dragoons, probes being pulled, but probes versus Lings is ultimately a losing proposition, especially with Mutas in the air, and you can see Odin and Grooven as he takes down the last of TheRock's forces. Definitely happy to win one for his team. And so we'll see this game go to Samsung Khan, I think. And more Mutas coming in and more Lings, and I don't think TheRock can possibly have any sort of strategy in mind. There's nothing he can do at this point. His tech is all wrong to combat the tech route that Odin chose to go. And more Mutas just sitting back there, and this is more than GG, and TheRock recognizes it, and GG's. So, not particularly inspired play on TheRock's part. Good solid play from Odin, and I hope you enjoyed the game, and this has been Hamilcar. Bye.